In the distant year of 2020, scientists are able to genetically engineer giant dragons that are trained for only one purpose: to become a world champion in the DWC! This is Beast Wrestler! Beast Wrestler is one of 12 games included in Evercade cartridge number 23, Renovation Collection 1. Beast Wrestler was developed by Riot for the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive in 1991. Riot also published a game in Japan, but Renovation published a game in North America, and it appears that the game was released in North America nearly 2 months before the Japanese release, which I find a bit strange seeing as how it's usually the other way around for Japanese developed games at the time. The premise behind the game is that scientists have developed a way to create giant dragons, and I guess they couldn't think of what to do with them except have them wrestle each other. So around the year 2015, the Dragon Warriors Committee was formed, and people could start owning these genetically altered dragons and train them to participate in the Dragon Warrior games. These games are just pretty much wrestling matches with giant beasts. It's now the year 2020, and you enter the games as a rookie with a newly created, inexperienced dragon with the ultimate goal of developing him into a world champion. Now there are 2 main game modes, and the story described refers to the tournament mode. The other option is match mode, and it's really just a single match play where you could choose from a roster of 10 beasts and play against the CPU or a second player. However, tournament mode is much more interesting despite only being for 1 player. As you begin, you're given a beast to start out with, but you don't get to choose the beast, but you do get to name him and choose one of 2 special moves for him to perform during matches. From there, you'll proceed from match to match facing increasingly more powerful opponents, but in between every few matches, you'll get to visit a shop where you can spend your winnings on items that will mostly help with your beast training, such as increasing its speed, power, or health. And if that was it, I'd say that's kind of a cool idea on its own, but there's a bit more to it. Twice during your rise to the top, your beast will grow too worn out from all the battles, and you'll get the chance to merge him with another beast, creating a brand new beast for you to continue the tournament with. In this way, the game gives a good incentive to replay the tournament multiple times just to see what type of creatures you can end up with. The wrestling matches themselves are pretty typical for wrestling games at the time, with 1 button for punches and holds, another for tail whips and slams, and a dedicated button for special attacks. These special attacks are otherwise known as death blows and can only be performed when indicated on screen. The only thing about this game that differs from a regular wrestling match is that you can't pin your opponent. Rather, if a beast cries in pain 3 times, the match is lost. If the match time runs out, a winner is chosen by decision. Now, I've never played this game before, but I've certainly heard about it. I always got the impression that this game may be in the so bad it's good category, so I was looking forward to trying this one out. Well, after playing it, I can definitely say it doesn't play that great at all. It's a wrestling game, so it's all about the grabs, punches, and tail whips, but the animations and hit detection are terrible. If 2 beasts are standing right next to each other, it's possible for every attack to go through the other beast and completely miss. That's because for the attack to make contact, the very end of the appendage used has to make actual contact with the opponent's sprite. If a beast is lower on the screen and throws a punch and the fist appears overlaid over the bottom of the opponent's sprite, it counts as a hit, even though it doesn't make any sense perspective-wise. There are a few beasts that crawl, and even though they're low to the ground, you can still hit them with a standing punch if you're lower on the screen. And other times it could look like you're making contact with the opponent, but failing to hit them completely. It can be incredibly fiddly to figure out where you need to be standing to make contact with the opponent. Also, it's kind of annoying when a monster falls down because it can seemingly take forever for him to stand back up. Normally, a standing beast can still attack a downed creature, or even pick them back up, but if that creature screams in pain, nobody can really do anything until the game decides you can. It's the same thing during grab attacks. Everyone just has to wait until the animation decides to finish. It's a shame that the actual wrestling portion of this game is so bad, because for a little while I thought I could get to like this game, because it certainly has some charm to it. Especially with the insane amount of misspellings found within the game. So yeah, ultimately I didn't find this one so much fun to play. And it's a shame because I really enjoyed the concept of training and evolving your dragon through the ranks, although that portion could have been done a bit better as well. Like, why can't I visit the shop and train my dragon in between every match? Alright, here are the rankings so far for Renovation Collection 1, only one game so far, but we're going to throw Beast Wrestler on here and I'm going to put it on Tier D. And now on our all Evercade games ranking list, it's just a matter of finding a spot in Tier D for Beast Wrestler. Alright, I think I've found a spot for it here, in between Power Football and Panic Dizzy. So how about a couple of secret codes? I've got two codes here that are quite interesting, and both codes require controller inputs, and I'm going to refer to the buttons as if we're using the original Genesis controllers, since the buttons are remappable on the Evercade. So, did you know there's a sound test hidden in the game? At the title screen, all you've got to do is hold down A, B, and C and then press start. This will take you to a black screen with just the word test at the bottom. Pressing up and down will select the song and pressing A will play it. Unfortunately, there's no indication on the screen of what's actually playing. Pressing B will exit back to the game. This next code, however, is a bit more interesting. When playing through the tournament mode, during the versus screen, just before the match starts, press and hold A, B, and C on controller 2, and press a button on controller 1 to advance past the versus screen. The screen will turn black and will hold on that black screen. If you let go of the buttons on controller 2, the screen will continue to be black. While the screen is black, on controller 2, quickly press AA, BB, ABC. The game will now continue on to the match. The difference now is that the CPU opponent is controlled by player 2, and this will be in effect for the rest of the tournament. Well, that'll wrap it up for Beast Wrestler. I wouldn't be surprised if this winds up being the worst game in the collection. Next time, I'll be looking at Dino Land from the same cartridge, Renovation Collection 1.